Hey, I'm Sarah from TotallyStitchcraft, and today I'm going to show you how to crochet this rose granny square. Now I'm going to be changing the colors up a little bit. Instead of this purple, I've got a sparkly red, and then for the petals I'm using green, and for the granny square portion I'll be using a lilac purple. Now materials you'll need some scissors, a darning needle to sew in our ends later, 3 colors of yarn, and I'm using a crochet hook size 4.5 millimeter, and my yarn is weight sized 4 or medium weight. You can really do this with any weight of yarn, any type of yarn, but that's just what I'm going to be using. Now this pattern is worked in the round, so you can either begin with a magic ring or you can follow my method that I'll show you here. I'm going to slip stitch, put that on my hook, and then I'm going to chain 4, and then I'm going to find that first chain I made, find the back loop, and slip stitch into there, and that forms my little ring here. Now inside this ring I am going to place 6 single crochets. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Tough yarn. Ah, don't you just hate that? All right, we hit 4. Now we're gonna do 5 and 6. All right, perfect. So I'm going to count all those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm going to find the front loop, only the front loop of my first single crochet, and I'm going to slip stitch through there. Now what I'm going to do is be working only in the front loops of this ring. That's because I have to work in the back loops for my next round. So the rounds are going to be sort of stacked on top of each other. I'm going to make 3 petals to begin. So it's going to be these 3 petals that we see here. Okay, and the way that we do this is we're going to single crochet into that same loop that I just slip stitched into. Single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet all into the first loop. In the next loop I am going to half double crochet, single crochet, and slip stitch. So that made 1 petal. Now I'm going to be working in the front loop of the next stitch. I'm going to single crochet once, I'm going to half double crochet into that same place and double crochet into that same stitch. Next, I'm going to half double crochet into the front loop only of the next stitch, single crochet, and slip stitch. Now again, I'm going to go to that next stitch. I'm going to single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet all into the front loop of that stitch. Then I'm going to half double crochet, single crochet, and slip stitch. So that gives me my 3 petals to begin with. So that's completed our very first round. Now I need to work into the back loops of the next round. Okay, so I'm going to flip this over, and it's a little bit hard to find out where all of the back loops are, but you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 back loops. So I'm just going to pick one of them here, pull my yarn through, and make a single crochet. Now I'm going to work an increase. So I'm going to put one more single crochet into there, and then I'm going to find the back loop of the next stitch. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to put 2 single crochets back there. 1, 2. I'm going to do that for the next one. Find that back loop. 1, 2. And again. 1, 2. I find that the hook will find those loops if you just put it there. I know that's not like great advice, but if you're having a hard time seeing those back loops, just try to put your hook there and most likely you'll find it. Okay, so we should have 12 single crochets. I'm just going to count them to make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Perfect. So I'm going to slip stitch to the front loop of that first single crochet to finish out this round. And now I'm going to be working in that same front loop that we just slip stitched into, and I'm going to work another round of petals. So it's going to be just like the round of petals we just completed. So it is a single crochet, a half double crochet, and a double crochet all worked into one loop. In the next, we'll do a half double crochet, a single crochet, and a slip stitch. And that's our first petal. Now let's do another one. We'll single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet. Now remember, this is all in the front loop only. Next front loop, we'll half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. All right, on to the next one. Single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet. Get that next one with our half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. All right, 3 petals down, 3 more to go. Let's do a single crochet, half double crochet, and double crochet all in one place. Half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. Beautiful. Repeat. Single crochet, half double crochet, double crochet, half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got 5 petals, 2 more to go. Wait, 1 more to go. 2 more 2 more stitches, which will complete my petal arrangement. Single crochet and then slip stitch. Perfect. Now let's find that back loop of our first stitch here and slip stitch through that back loop there. Okay, at this point I'm just gonna pull this really big, and this tail is annoying the heck out of me, so I am done. I'm just gonna weave this in real quick because I can't stand it. So now that I have 6 petals, I'm gonna do another set of those increases in the back loops. So I already slip stitched into this back loop. Let's go ahead, let's find these back loops, shall we? And do an increase. Okay, 1, 2 single crochets. Next one we'll get 2 single crochets. Next 2 single crochets. Anyway, I'm just increasing all of these. I'll have 24 single crochets at the end of this round. Okay, perfect. So I've got 24, and I'm going to slip stitch to the front of that first single crochet that I had made. Now our petals are going to change a little bit. So I'm going to show you how to do these next petals. They're going to be slightly larger than the petals we have been working previously. So in this front loop, I'm going to single crochet, half double crochet. In the next, I'm going to put 2 double crochets into that front loop only. And in the next, I'm going to half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. Okay, so that's one petal. Let's move on to the next one. We begin with a single crochet, half double crochet in that first stitch. Then we do 2 double crochets into the next stitch. And we finish off our petal in the next stitch with a half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. So let's begin another petal, single crochet, half double crochet into that first stitch. Then we'll do 2 double crochet into the next stitch, and then finish off our petal with a half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. Another petal, single crochet, half double crochet into the next stitch. Let's do 2 double crochets, 1, 2. Finish this off with a half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch. All right, another petal, single crochet, half double crochet, then in the next stitch 2 double crochet, 1, 2, next stitch half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch, next petal, single crochet, half double crochet, then we've got 2 double crochets in the next, 1, 2, then half double crochet, single crochet, slip stitch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 petals. I believe we're gonna have 7 petals. Actually, I think we should just have 6 petals. Anyway, I might have counted wrong. Doesn't really matter. I'm gonna make mine with 7 petals. All right, and then I'm just gonna slip stitch to finish off, chain 1 and pull my yarn through, give it a nice cut on the end. And there we go, we've got our rose. Okay, I'm gonna weave in this end and then we'll move on to the petals. All right, so I'm ready to do the petals now, and I'm going to insert my hook into any back loop stitch here and pull my yarn through, and I'm just going to give it a little knot to tie it there. You can attach yarn however you choose. This is just how I do it. Now we're going to be doing some double crochet clusters. I'm going to chain 2, which is going to count as my first double crochet, and then I'm going to put the beginning of a double crochet here, and then I'm going to start another double crochet on my hook without finishing it. So I've got 3 double crochets on my hook, pull that through, and now I'm going to chain 3. So this is going to start our first corner. And I do another cluster group of double crochet. So I'm going to start 1 double crochet, not going to finish it, start another one, not gonna finish it, start a third one, not gonna finish it. I've got 4 loops on my hook now, pull through all 4 loops, and then I'm going to chain 5. And then I'm going to count 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to double crochet into that 5th stitch, do that cluster again. So we've got 3 double crochets on our hook, 4 loops, pull through all 4 loops, chain 3 again in that same stitch. Let's do another double crochet cluster, pull through all the loops on the hook, chain 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's go ahead and do a double crochet cluster, chain 3, another double crochet cluster. Oh, this yarn gets stuck. Okay, chain 5, and then we'll get our last one here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then into the stitch we go. Let's do same thing we've been doing. 1, 2, 3, another cluster, 1, 2, 3, and then chain 5, and let's find our first cluster here, stick our hook through, slip stitch to join, chain 1, and pull through that yarn. So now if we turn our little rose over, we've got our petals. I'm going to go ahead and weave in these ends, and then we can move on to the next round. Okay, so now we're ready to do the squaring part of the granny square. Well, we've already squared this, but we're going to add the more part. I'm going to start with a slip stitch on my hook, and I'm going to do a standing double crochet starting in the corner. I'm going to make this a full granny square. You could do this part any way that you know how to make a square granny square. Totally up to you. I'm going to do the full one here. So I'm going to start in a corner. I'm going to pre-wrap my yarn over my hook like this and just hold that with my finger. Hold that tight. So I've got 2 loops essentially on my hook. I'm going to insert my hook into the corner, still holding on to that loop, and pull up a 3rd loop. Now this might happen where you lose your tension there. Not a problem. You can just wrap that again, hold that with your finger, insert that hook into the corner, pull through the first 2 loops and the next 2 loops, and that's called a standing double crochet. So instead of attaching your yarn and chaining 2, we've just started our double crochet already. I'm going to put 1 more double crochet here, and now I'm going to put a triple crochet. So I've wrapped my yarn twice around my hook, pulled up a loop, 1, 2, 3 times I pull through. Now I'm going to put 2 more double crochets into this corner. Okay, perfect. So that creates our corner space. Now in this double crochet cluster, I am going to put 1 double crochet into that top stitch, and then 5 double crochets into this large area we have. Five, and again I've hit that cluster stitch, so I'm going to put a double crochet in the top of that, and then I'll start my corner with 2 double crochets, and then a triple crochet or a treble crochet, US terms here, and then 2 more double crochets. Again, I see that cluster stitch from below. I'm going to put 1 double crochet in the top there, and then 5 double crochets around in this big area. And 5. Okay, 1 double crochet in the top of that cluster stitch, and then I'll do my corner again. So that's 2 double crochets, a triple, and then 2 doubles, 1 in the top of my cluster stitch, 5 along the corner, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1 in the top of my cluster stitch, and then let's do our last corner here. So that's 2 double crochets, a triple crochet, and 2 double crochets, 1 in the top of my cluster stitch, and then 5 along the side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1 in the top of my cluster stitch from below, and we have reached the place where we began. And now I can slip stitch into the very top part of our stitch here, and we can see our square becoming more solid. All right, you can either continue in the same direction. I am going to flip and go the other direction because I just think it makes a cleaner square. If you just want to keep continuing on, you can do so. Go ahead and do in the tops of all of the triple crochets, you'll do 2 double crochets, a triple crochet, 2 double crochets to make that corner. If you just want to continue along with me, I'll show you how to do that. Chain 2, turn. Now I'm just going to place a double crochet into every stitch back along the side here until I reach the place where I had a triple crochet from below. Okay, and if you don't know which one the triple crochet is, it's the one that has more loops than the double crochets. Pretty easy to tell which one that is. So once we hit that one, we're going to place 2 double crochets, a triple crochet, and 2 more double crochets into that loop. And then again, just double crochet all the way along that side till you get back to the beginning. Well, not the beginning, till you get back to the corner. And then we'll do our corner space again. And so this is what makes our granny square solid, which I think looks pretty cool. So I'm going to finish up this round. When I get to the end, I will come back here and show you how to join again, and then we'll turn our work one more time and do a 3rd row of solid stitches. So I have made it all the way back around to where I began. I just finished the corner, and I'm going to do one more double crochet into this stitch, and then I'm going to find the top of my chain 2 where I began and give a nice little slip stitch to join that round together. Now I'm going to chain 2 and turn my work, and then I'm going to begin going the other direction. So again, let's do a double crochet in the stitch here, a double crochet in the next one, a double crochet in the next one, all the way until I get to that corner space. And I'll do the corners like every other corner, 2 double crochets, a triple crochet, and 2 double crochets with all this yarn puke that just came out, whatever. Okay, back here, 2 double crochets, a triple crochet, and 2 more double crochets into that corner space. I'm going to finish out this round like the previous round, and then I'll be back here to show you how to join. We're going to be using an invisible join, not a slip stitch join for the end. So I have gotten back to where I began. I'm going to cut my yarn and pull through. So this is an incomplete stitch. I'm pulling through that yarn tail and then threading my needle so we can go ahead and do our invisible join. I'm going to put my needle through the next stitch. So this is the top of the first double crochet we did, not the top of the chain 2. And I'm going to have that needle under both those loops facing away from me and pull that kind of tight. Then I'm going to insert my hook into that stitch where my yarn was originally coming from, being sure to catch both of these loops right here and pulling that through. Now we can see the top of our stitch form there, and then I'm just going to thread back one more time through the post of that double crochet stitch where I had originally put my yarn through the top, and then finish weaving here through the back loops of my double crochets. One more time, I'm going to skip a piece of yarn so I can catch it, and then thread through again, pull that tight, give it a little tension, and then sort of finesse it out, and then cut it. And that yarn is secure in there. It looks really nice. We've got a clean finish, and that's our granny square. Hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I had a ton of fun making it. Here are my 2 granny squares side by side. If you do decide making one of these granny squares for my tutorial, I'd love to see it. Tag me on Instagram at TotallyStitchcraft. Have a good one. Bye.